Howdy everybody, it's Amy here from Amy's Sparkly Diamond Painting and Cross Stitch. How are you doing out there? It's pretty cold here, trying to figure out how to stay warm. It is a little bit after dark, but both kids are gone and the dogs have settled for the evening because they can't see very well outside. So hopefully no barking at critters. So I thought this would be a good time to do my first month in review for a while. So obviously you see goodies before you that are completed and diamond painted, which is so much a good thing for me. So if you're new here, welcome in. My channel is mostly about diamond painting and cross stitch, and I throw a few other little crafty things in here and there. But I did have hand surgery in October that resulted in some complications, so I haven't been doing much diamond painting or cross stitch for a few months, which means no month in review videos. But I've done enough this month that I figured it was time to start getting back into the month in review videos and also some other things. I got so far behind in product review packages, and I am still a little behind, but every once in a while you just gotta sit back and do an unscripted video that's all you, that's just something you wanted to do, and that's what this one is. So we're gonna review what I got done this month, both in diamond painting and cross stitch. You see the diamond painting in front of you here because that's first, but I will stop the video and go get cross stitch and show you what I've done in that area at the end of this video. Well, the other half of this video, I should say. But I also have some diamond painting e-pens here. So since I did a review of a couple of these lately, I thought, because I've been diamond painting more lately, I've used all of these a little bit more and played around with them, and I'm not going to do like a full review. And part of that is because of the fact that all of these were sent to me as gifts to show some of the differences and similarities and let you decide what you think might work best for you. So we're going to talk a little bit more about diamond painting pens along the way, and also the dreaded black drills. So I'm going to show you a trick that I figured out because of one of my works in progress that I've been working on the last few days. Something that I had to do for me related to black drills to make life easier for me and my hand that you might find useful as well. So we'll have a couple conversations along the way about those things, but I also just wanted to show you what I got done. So I actually did get things done for once, and I'm really excited about that. So welcome in. If you're new, I hope you find something interesting here. If you're one of my people, as I like to call you, that have been hanging around and supporting me for the last few years, I do appreciate it. So if you'd like to subscribe, join in, all that good stuff, feel free. And if there's something interesting you see here, something you want to comment about, feel free to do that as well. So let's get started. I did a video, maybe a week and a half ago, close to 2 weeks ago, for a budget-friendly diamond painting haul from One Day Saving, and I went ahead and did several of the things because they were smaller projects and special diamonds and everything. I thought, well, why don't I start there? And so the first thing I did, because this one only had like 4 or 5 colors, is I did this little purse. And the opening is a little bit tricky to figure out at first, but basically you pull outward on these 2 dots there and it opens right up. Nice little storage. So they call it a purse. I'm not sure I would, but it was cute, easy, quick project, and it came up with a nice little finished purse here. It'll probably just go on my closet shelf, but it was an enjoyable little project to get back on track with. So as far as diamonds went, I had lots of extras of all the different colors here, and those will be going in my stash that I keep. I just have a big box of special diamonds, not really sorted. They're all the packets like this. I just throw them in there, and when I'm looking for something, I don't worry about numbers or IDs or shapes. I probably need to start sorting them by shape. now that I have enough of them. I just kind of dig through that box and see what looks interesting for what I'm looking for. So that's those. And I did go ahead and finish this box, but I'm going to share these first because I'm going to open the box and show you my spares with these. So I was already using this box for some storage here. So these were the new pearl diamond paintings that I found that I was really curious about. And this one was the first one that I did here. It's more like the classic special diamond. Had a shiny there. A drill that escaped. But these are a little bit more like some of the budget-friendly special diamond paintings that you see. I enjoy just a quick little treat like these. They are fun. They take just a couple hours, so an evening or two, depending on how much time you take. This one did not have the glue in the spaces where it didn't belong. It only had them for the sticky parts. But this was a lot of fun with all those pearls. So there were a lot of pearls with this one. A lot of different types of finishes on the drills. We got some AB, some pearlescent, but overall very simple, very easy, quick little project, but it did have some of these neat I was about to say neat, larger pearlescent diamonds there, which I like. So I liked all the different shapes of that one. So these do come already on a frame, so they do cost a little bit more because the shipping is a little bit more difficult for them. So that was that one. This was the second one. I didn't do this one in the unboxing. It came a day later. It was packaged separately. But he's really, really cute. It would have been kind of fun to do some of these larger designs there on the background there with actual large shaped special diamonds. But some of that is just printed. I can kind of look at it at an angle there. Maybe that helps to see that these aren't done, but everywhere where there are smaller ones, those are done. So it was kind of fun. Same idea, already on the frame, so just quick and easy project. And then of course the giant one. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out here because this one was fun in the sense that, I guess I can't zoom. I'm gonna, hopefully you won't get too dizzy by this. I'm gonna have to, I lifted this up so you could see hopefully a little bit more of the extent of this one. This was the one that had the really giant pearls here all over this beach. Talk about texture on this one. And this one was so enjoyable because I was giggling as I was working on this because I'm so used to smaller diamonds that these huge pearls just made me laugh as I was working on it. So this one I thought came out pretty good for what it was because these are more expensive, especially these bigger ones with the black and white. A lot of them have the black background, white pearls with various designs on them. I picked the beach scene here, but the stick on these is really, really good. These giant pearls are not going anywhere. They are stuck on there really good. So that's one of the concerns I had, was the weight of these giant pearls would make them come off easily, but nope, they did not. I had plenty. I didn't have a whole lot of extras though. The giant ones, probably the top 3 largest sizes on here, there were no spares. So you don't want to lose any of the giant ones. I basically did it from largest to smallest, and I finished with the smallest, but you'll see the smallest are still that big. They're still pretty big. So I was able to do most of this one with my fingers, and I was just laughing in enjoyment. It was a good thing because it was, I started it at night, finished it the next day. I still got some of the plastic hanging here off the edge, but this is another one that came framed, but it had this hard board on the back of it. I've done other canvases that didn't have the hard board on the back, like these. No, even these have a hard board on the back. Some of the ones, like some of the Hobby Lobby ones, are softer canvas in the middle, so when you push, it kind of pushes down. But because these have that hard board, it was very sturdy no matter where I pushed to put these down. But since I was just using my fingers, it went pretty quick. And then, of course, the last one I did from that haul, I still have a couple more things to do from that haul, but I did most of it. The last one I did here was this box. This I wasn't as happy with. So I had a lot of trouble with the stick on this one. The glue was not very good at this one, and especially close to the edge. I was fighting it a little bit to get some of the diamonds to stay on. And then the assembly was a little tricky and actually kind of strange, because let me dump all these out because we're going to look at those last for this haul. But there were 3 spaces for risers, and they gave me 4 risers and 4 sets of screws, but you only need 3. But it was a little bit tricky to get everything to hold together, especially these sides while you put the top on. But these screws kind of stick out, and I thought that was kind of odd. There are 3 holes on the back of this, and the way you close it is you turn it until they line up like that, and it sort of holds it closed. The handle doesn't stay in. I'm gonna have to glue it to get that to stay. I tried using little stickers here at the time because that's what I had handy here, some leftover stickers from another kit there, but the handle didn't really want to stay in there very well, so it probably needs some gluing there. It was okay, but it wasn't my favorite experience out of the ones that I had from this haul. So it did end up holding together here. It does have a divider in the middle, but I haven't tried gluing anything, so it's okay. But the one thing I wanted to show that was in there, these are all my leftovers from those few projects, or this one plus these 2 smaller pearlescent ones. So I kind of noticed as I was unboxing, I mentioned, boy, that's a lot of diamonds. I had entire packages that I didn't use. So I have this many of the beautiful gold ones left. And same here, I need to combine these. These were from the 2 different projects there with the colored ones, the smaller ones. So there's the pink. They all seem to have the same general colors in them, but there were so many diamonds here. You can see those. That's one of the rhinestones. But even the red here, lots and lots of those. And I had like an entire bag of the white ones that I didn't use too. So if you're looking not so much for the diamond painting part, but a collection of pearlescent round drills for enhancing other diamond paintings, this is a good way to get them, because I have a ton of my favorite gold ones here that I can use. So I'm going to put those in my box of specialty diamonds, and I'm going to keep in mind that I have a ton of these. Those would bring up a lot of projects and be really fun. But here are my leftovers from the giant one here, and these came in it. I didn't really look closely at the toolkit when I unboxed it, but it did have 2 of these. I think these are some sort of mounts, but I wasn't sure how they worked, so I did not use them, but I do have those. If you know, let me know. But these are some of the bigger ones. I think the biggest one that I had lots of leftovers were this size. But all the ones that were bigger than this, they only included enough to do the diamond painting. So you do have to be careful and not lose the giant ones. And yeah, there were, I don't know, 5 or 6 of this size in there as well. Hopefully you can see that, but not a ton of those. But then as you got to the smaller ones, of course, there were more and more leftovers here. So I have a ton of these, but these are awfully big, so you wouldn't use them in a regular diamond painting. Even the smallest one are a bit too large, but there will be something that comes along that they will be useful for. So that was kind of fun to step back and just do a few simple ones and feel like I accomplished something. So what did I get done for regular canvas diamond painting? That's what's next. There we go. You saw this one about 1/3 of the way done when I did my review of this Art Dot pen. I finished it using that pen. And you can see here, this is really cute fox. This is part of their Animals 12 pack from Art Dot. And they do have special diamonds here. They show up here near the end. The whole outline of the butterfly wing of the fox there is that green AB, and all through here. And you can tell the wing, hopefully that sparkle is coming through for you. The wing was full of it, as well as all these little butterflies that have little highlights in their wings throughout. So this was a fun one to do. Lots of ABs in the right places, I thought, and just a really cute result. It was hard to tell how it was going to come out based on how they do their symbols, which I love. They use a lot of the yellow and the white symbols to help tell them apart. They're really easy to do. I can do these usually without a light pad, but it makes it harder to see how the final result is really going to come out until you do it. But I thought there was enough detail there in that little fox, even for the small size. So the size on these, I think, was, there it is, 10 by 14 inches or 35 by 25 centimeters. And that's the diamond painting area. So nice little kit that can get done. These have the fuzzy back and all that. So this was a very pleasant one to do, and I finished it. So we got to finish. The rest are not finishes. I have two more to show you. One of them is this one right here. This is also an Art Dot, but this one was one of my closest to a finish for big ones. So that's why I pulled this one out. I'm trying to get through some of my past projects, and we'll talk about that. Also, what my plans are for this month and the next few months going forward on how I'm going to finish all these things. So this is one of the Art Dot squares that comes in the tube. This is 47.5 by 70 centimeters. This was one of the original ones with the little bit looser spacing between the drills. So these are resin drills, square. You can see all the ABs and everything there in her hat, in the flowers. It does have a lot of sparkle because they are resin drills. And it was a pretty enjoyable painting to work on, because even in the background areas there was something going on, and I just enjoyed watching the little pictures and the flowers and everything come out as I was working on her. So I'm happy with this, but you'll notice something going on here. And my hubby thought it might be cool to do a whole video on how I'm going to fix this. This is my fault. This is not the kit. I lost a bag of drills. So when I kitted this up, the extra bags for some of these colors here at the top, where there were like 2 or 3 bags of them, I kept them with the trays that I was using, but they moved around several times. So if you ever start thinking, oh, I'm going to finish this diamond painting in the next week, I don't have to worry about these extra bags. I'll just, keep them with the diamond painting. They won't get lost. I'll get it done. Well, this one has been going on for a few months. It got kind of set aside for a while, and I moved it probably 6 or 7 times as I was cleaning and filming and everything. This pack of drills will probably show up the day after I finish this one. I know it's here somewhere. So this is just one color there. If I contacted Art Dot, they would send me a new package of drills. They have their guarantee and everything, but I don't always like to wait. So I've never contacted a company for replacement drills. What I do is go into my stash of leftovers and all that and finish something so I can get it done right away. Well, that's going to happen to this one, but there might be a little video that I'll put in the tutorial section about how I'm going to go about this. So what I have here, I have a stash of square diamonds that I keep in bags, and this one has a DMC number here. Let me double check it here. So it is 3827 is the color that I am short. However, this color, I've had these for a few years. They do not match the 3827 that came with this kit. They're kind of a more of a peachish tone rather than the yellow, but there is a way that I can still use these and salvage it. I stopped at a straight line here, but if I tried to use these drills, that line would show. So just a short version of the plan, what I'm going to do is pull off a whole section here with my tweezers of this color. And I'm going to mix them in with these, and I'm going to kind of feather it. The way you can see how the other colors here kind of blend together by having, you know, little areas where they're feathered with the different colors kind of blending together. That's how I'm going to pull them off. Not in straight lines, but I'm going to kind of feather the edges as I take them off, leave kind of the center a little bit more with the older drills, and just mostly kind of take off closer around the edges and kind of feather it through there. And I'm going to put those drills in with some of these, and I'm going to finish it that way because it's just the sky. So we're just going to fade into a slightly different color here in this direction, but I want it to fade. I don't want that straight line. So we're going to try that, and you'll see the results. I don't know if it'll make a full video. I'm not sure I can get enough out of this little technique to make a whole video for it. But you will at least see the end result next month, because I'm going to do this in the next couple days and get this one done so that I can have one more finish. So that again was on me, not Art Dot. I remember moving those bags several times. I store a lot of stuff on a Lazy Boy recliner that we have in here. I felt down through the recliner. I could not find it, but I'm sure they will come up right after I finish fixing it. But this is so close to a finish. But it will be here in the next few days. Really, really cute. Really happy with this one. And nice soft back. I get a lot of dog hair on my stuff, so ignore that. But this one, the spacing was a little bit loose. It does show in some of the lighter drills here where you can see some of the gapping there in the skin. So I wasn't the happiest with some of the gapping. It does show. Mostly I found that gapping shows more in lighter colors than darker colors. So, but it's almost there. Close enough to a finish that we'll go ahead and call it one. So this is the final diamond painting I have to show you for January. It was a slow start to the month, but I've really picked up speed here at the end of the month. This is my Dreamer Designs Crazy Cat Lady by Hannah Lynn. And this one has been set aside for a while, mostly because of the black drills. And then, of course, the hand issues where I was kind of out of commission for a few months. So I'm not a big fan of black diamonds. As you've probably seen in my past videos, that's usually my biggest critique of any and all diamond painting companies is resin black drills. They are very difficult to work with. They're often a little bit too big, and it can be Dreamer Designs, it can be Diamond Art Club. I've done large areas of black on both companies and other companies as well. And to me, they are a problem. They are a frustration for me. So when I buy diamond paintings, I specifically don't get ones with a lot of black background, because I know what's going to happen. It's going to bog me down. And I had gotten up until this point. So I was here as of the day before yesterday. And so what I got done over the last couple days were these two sections in this row. So if you look at the release paper here, what I do is typically leave part of the cover paper, here the clear plastic, and lay two rows of release papers. And when I finish one row, then I trim it. And I'll go up one more here. When I start this row, I will place a row above this and trim the plastic even with that row. And I prefer to work that way so that I can see the whole diamond painting except for the row I'm working on and still protect it very nicely. So that's how I like to work. I think that's okay. Nope, that wasn't the diamond. Whew. So here's where we got that much done over the last couple days, but where I really was afraid I was going to bog down and I did a little bit, was here, because this is a black cat. It's probably hard to tell there. There's a little spot, the paws, the kitty food, but it's a large area of solid black. So the little lines I don't mind at all. You got enough wiggle room there with the other colors around it that if they are a little bit too big or giving you trouble, you can adjust with the other colors and it'll be just fine. Where I run into trouble is larger areas. These were not the best to work on, but they were okay. But this was what I was not really dreading. I mean, this is a hobby. We're supposed to be having fun. And I wanted to make this more enjoyable, so I got halfway through the cat and I got very frustrated today. And I said, wait, I have an idea. So we'll talk about that. Another little tip or trick if you're dealing with a diamond painting with lots and lots of black diamonds. So this is what comes with the kit. And you notice now I have a bag for my overflow so that they don't get lost. They stay together. It's very important. But I still have these unopened packages. There's still quite a bit to go. And I have these. These all came with the kit. They are black resin drills. And like I said, this isn't on any one particular company. They all seem to have this difficulty. So what I ended up doing, I had checkerboarded this cat. And then I was trying to go through and pick through and try to find the smaller diamonds that would fit on the cat. But it was still kind of shoving further over as I was going from right to left here. The diamonds were kind of reaching over into the next row and just starting to get a little bit wonky there. So I did something that I don't recommend everybody do, but can you tell what I did? Maybe, maybe not. These are a mix of resin and acrylic drills. Now that I told you that, can you tell? Can you see the difference? Hopefully not. I think there's plenty of shine with acrylic drills. I know a lot of people like to diss acrylic drills. Some of that may be because we're so used to the advertising. Ooh, we got resin drills. Here, let me zoom in. Since I zoomed out there before, let me zoom in a little bit here and move this around. Can you tell? Can you tell? So I was getting frustrated filling in the checkerboarding on this. Checkerboarding is a method where you do every other diamond and leave the spaces between them blank, and then you go back through and fill them in, and that helps you kind of keep something straight instead of having it kind of stretch on if you do a whole row at once and it tries to kind of move into the colors next to it because they're just a bit too big. Well, I did the checkerboarding and I filled in with good old-fashioned acrylic. Because these are smaller. These were all leftovers from past diamond painting projects that I'd given up on, and most of them were because they were old school ones that were not poured glue, they were double-sided adhesive. I have been diamond painting since late 2016, and I had several kits that were double-sided adhesive, and when I went to all good stuff, I threw out all of my double-sided adhesive canvases, but I kept the diamonds. And so most of these, if not all of them, are acrylic, unless they were leftovers from a more premium kit. So these are all the old school bags, 310, if you can even see that. The numbers are even hard to read on the bags, and that's what these were as well. They were just already emptied into these baggies. But acrylic drills are a little bit smaller. So they don't have quite the shine, but they are a little bit smaller and a little bit easier to fit between those spaces with the resin drills. So what I did is I first did the checkerboard every other one with the resin, and then I went back through with the acrylic drills and filled in those blank spots. And that way my hand wasn't cramping up and hurting as I was trying to push those drills down. They went in much easier and they did not mess with the spacing anywhere. So if you have a diamond painting out there that has black diamonds that is really frustrating you, you may consider the technique where you do every other one with resin, so you still keep that shine, but then go back through with the old school acrylic drills. You can still buy acrylic square diamonds, and they're pretty cheap. There's several places you can buy them. These were leftovers from a kit, but I've also bought the Art Dot sets. Diamond Drills USA, I think, is one of the ones that you can go to. But there are several places where you can buy acrylic black diamonds, and they will usually be just a little bit smaller and a little bit more uniform. So the idea with resin is they are shinier. They are better, they are shinier. But some of that may also be our conditioning from all the advertising. Ooh, we have resin drills, so those diamond paintings cost more. Well, I've done enough budget friendlies, as you can see through the years in my channel. I'm not afraid of budget friendlies. I don't mind them at all. And I found that acrylic drills aren't necessarily quite as bad as they may seem. So they don't have quite the shine, but if you do a mixture of the two, I think it works out really well, and it made the rest of this just go so much faster. I got rid of the frustration of trying to figure out how to deal with this huge area black, and I was able to make those smaller acrylic drills fit in there. They were slightly dusty, but I have another tool for that. I was just feeling a diamond there that didn't get pushed down. There we go. Let's see if I can find. I should have kept that around. There it is. So I have one of these. It is a roller for diamond painting, but it also has a sticky spot built into this. Zoomed in too far. So this is kind of like a lint roller here, where you roll off one of the sheets, and there is one area here that has adhesive right across here, and when you roll it across, it picks up any dust that you have on the diamonds, and it sticks it on that sticky part on here. I pulled off some hair and some other things when I went over this one. A little piece of glitter there. It wasn't too bad though. As you can see, it's not really dirty per se, but this is a really good roller. It is Art Dot. Art Dot makes a lot of accessories, so that's why I have a lot of them, and this is actually wax from one of my wax melts, so ignore this purple stuff here. But if you roll this across, it'll kind of take off any dust that might be on any acrylic older drills that you have, and comes out clean and shiny, but I can't tell the difference. And if you've ever looked, I mentioned it before, but a lot of people just rave about Dreamer Designs round drills and how good they are and how good the kits are. Well, Dreamer Designs has on their webpage, you can find it yourself if you don't believe me, but their round drills are acrylic. And so you've been using acrylic drills if you've done any rounds from Dreamer Designs. And they are very good drills. So I don't have any trouble with acrylic. I think some of it is marketing. You don't have to have resin drills. And if you can do a mix of the two and make your life easier, then by all means go for it. So I will turn on the light here. This is one of their newer spacing kits from Dreamer Designs. They changed their spacing back October, a little over a year ago. So not this past October, but the October before that. They started selling a tighter spacing, and this is with my light pad on here and no gapping. It was almost too tight here with the black diamonds, but that's been happening from a lot of premium companies. So if those black diamonds are driving you nuts, or you have a project that you just don't want to do, get frustrated with, you could still do it, but you just don't want to deal with it, and that's what this kind of was, then try that trick of just checkerboarding the nice resin drills and sneak in some cheaper acrylic drills between, and you still have the shine and you have a lot less frustration. So that's that one. That's my progress just the last couple days here. Really happy for that, because let's see if I can move up here so you can see. I'm really looking forward to getting to the top half of this one. Maybe we're zoomed in a little bit too close though. So this is Handling Crazy Cat Lady, 60 by 80 centimeters, which is a pretty standard size for Dreamer Designs. But I'm really happy with the rest of it. And the way I approached this one, I've talked about it before if you've seen this one before when I've been working on it. But for when I start a section, I will first do the black. That is step one, get it out of the way. And then I will look for any rhinestone diamonds. You can see some of them there in the carpet and the cat food there and her little slippers. So I put the rhinestones next because they are also a little bit big. They are hard to fit in the spacing. So once I got the biggest, hardest ones to fit, then I go in and fill in the rest, and it works much smoother and much easier that way than if you try to save the rhinestones for last and then you're trying to push them into that space to make them fit. So it's just much easier on my hand if I get all those out of the way and then fill in the spacing with the colors. And it's kind of fun to do it that way as well. I do enjoy it. So that is Crazy Cat Lady. We're making progress, but well, let's talk diamond painting pens next, because I did kind of tease on that one. So I did do the video for the new Art Dot pen. I love it, and just about everything you see here was done with this pen, including this section here, but I was also playing around for a little bit. So when I did my first vacuum pen unboxing, it was for Kato, and I'm not going to like put down any company. That's just not how I do business on my channel. There's a place for everything, but what I can do is show you the differences and the similarities between these pens so that you can decide what works best for you. So Kato is a USB-C. The other end of the cord that came with it was a USB regular. And then the next one here, this one I did recently, this was from Opount. It comes from Amazon. It's cheaper than this one right here. We'll talk about price as part of this as well. Same kind of connection there. And I believe this one also was USB to USB-C, or it could be both ends USB-C. I forgot to check that. I just keep a USB-C plugged in to a charger, and I just use the same one for all of these. But that is the Opount pen. Then I got the Art Dot Bunny pen, and then finally this one. So similarities. Well, they're all vacuum diamond painting pens. So you use power with a rechargeable battery to give you suction, so you don't need any wax or putty, and they can be easier on your hands, so you don't have to push as hard. So that's why I was really excited to try some of these out, because even before my surgery in October, I was having a lot of hand issues, which is why I had the surgery done. So I was really excited to try all these. And the Kato one has these air holes here. If you haven't seen my other videos, the reviews for these, but this has air holes on either side. That's how it feeds the little fan inside. This one also has replaceable tips. You can even see the little fan in here. I'll turn it on there so you can see. And so you can't really cover these up as you're diamond painting, because that's how the air comes in, and that's the style that Kato used. But it came in a nice case here, and I did keep it actually by my diamond painting stuff here. It came in a nice case with other tips, including multi-placers. So this was one of the first pens to advertise multi-placers. And you just pull out the tip, put the new one in, and away you go. And it has even a 3 to 4 placer here, but they do say with this one that the multi-placer is made for rounds only. So the spacing on this one is for rounds. They are pretty far apart. And even this tip, if you look at it, it's a pretty big tip. So really, even though the single placer, they say they can do squares, I didn't have much luck, because that plastic was so thick it was hard to get those squares right up next to each other the way I needed to for something like this. So I was testing all of these over the last couple days on these two sections, including this area here, to see if my thoughts had changed or if anything had changed when I used them for a much longer period of time. So this one, well, let's do the sound here. It has kind of a high-pitched sound, but you can feel the air around these. But the fact that you can replace the tips and use multi-placers, that may be a selling point for you. But another selling point, this is the only one that comes with a case, and when you have multiple tips, you don't want to lose them, and so far I haven't. So that one is a good pen. It's just really for rounds. So then we looked at this one here, the company again, Opount. They sell them on Amazon. This one, its little superpower is light, and it has 3 levels of lighting. So you hit the top button and you can keep hitting it to get brighter and brighter light. So if you're diamond painting in an area where you don't have good overhead light, you can actually use this light and it does help you see. So that's that. The sound is a little lower, so I'm gonna not let these wander too far away so we can actually hear them. Let me turn the light off here on this one. So this was the first one. Guess I should put it by the microphone. So it's kind of a high-pitched sound. This is that one. It's still kind of loud, but it is a little bit lower. You don't have the little air holes that you have to protect, and it is bigger and heavier than this one. So this one is still pretty fat there, but it does have a grip area here. But I thought this one was a bit heavy. Now you'll notice the tip looks a little funny. So when I mentioned it would be good to have a case anytime you have one with multi-placers, well, this is a good example of that. So I have this tip here for it. It does have different tips. They were angled, so a little bit of getting used to there on the angle. This is a 3-placer, and it came with a tilted 1-placer and a regular straight 1-placer. Well, guess what happened? First, these are also pretty thick, better for rounds than squares. It was just too hard to get the squares next to each other. But the other thing is, I don't know where my straight tip is because it's real easy to just have tips laying around and have them misplaced, because when we diamond paint a lot, especially those of us that are content creators that get all these things, it's really easy to get these tips mixed in with your other ones and not realize. I'm sure they're around here somewhere. I just wasn't able to find it when I needed it today. So I thought, maybe I can do something about the tip. So I thought the tip was too thick, too hard to use square drills. So I took a regular diamond painting tip and I looked inside there. I saw it was kind of a round thing. Now it doesn't fit exactly, but it does fit. So this is a finer tip, and I was able to add that to this. Any tip that has a clear opening all the way through will work on this. So this does work. So I can push that in there and have the light if I want, but also the finer tip. So any companies doing these interchangeable tips, you probably want at least a little pouch or something so that we can store the tips without losing them. So that is something I realized later on. I knew it didn't come with any sort of boxing or anything that was permanent, but that's a way that they make it more budget friendly. So I believe this is probably one of the cheaper pens of the bunch, but it has a light and you can put a regular tip on there. I don't think you can get a multi-placer on there other than the ones that come with it, because multi-placers typically are solid at the bottom. They're not hollow, and so you can't get the air to flow. But this is a hollow pen tip here. So it works, and it will work on squares if you do this little modification. So a little bit more budget friendly, but the light and the fact that you could use a regular tip, that might be something interesting to you. So this one, you can check for that Opount video. You can search through there. You might be able to find it, or I may be able to find the links to all of these and put them below, because there are discount codes and links and all that for all of these, because they were all product reviews. But this one still definitely has a place in my collection. It's just a little bit heavier. So that's that one. And then, of course, we had the bunny pen. And this one does not have interchangeable tips. This is Art Dot. But one of the differences here, let's go, I'll do this by the microphone. Okay, that was Kato. That was that one. Can you even hear that? The Art Dot is the quietest pen of all of them. It does have a slightly different shape though, whereas this one has the finger grip. This one does not, but it gets very narrow here, down here. So I am actually able to grip this with my messed up fingers here. It works for me. I know not everybody likes chunky pens, but if you gotta fit all the innards and batteries and all that in here, they're all gonna be chunky. So this one is not too chunky, not too heavy, but definitely quieter. But one of the troubles they ran into with these, and I did not use mine enough to wear it down, but these tips were made with a softer plastic. So mine's doing just fine, but I know other people have had trouble with the tips being a bit too soft. If you really have to push, which I was doing here to get some of these black diamonds in, you could mush the tip. And the other issue I ran into was that this tip is just, it's thinner than the others here. I don't have them handy, but it's still a little bit thick for squares. So I did try again. I can get pretty close where I can put the squares just about next to each other with this, but there's still just a little bit of space. So I do have to push them over. And of course that pushing motion can damage the tip. So this is still a good option. It's good for single placing. You don't have the extra tips with it, but it is so quiet because I found that the noise from these pens can be distracting after a while. There's also a vibration. So all of these have a vibration, and I haven't really these two vibrate a little bit more than these two. So the Art Dots have just a little bit less vibration, but the noise is definitely there, and you may find that difficult to deal with. So these two, the same amount of sound. It's the same motor and everything. The difference is the tip. So this one, the little bit thicker tip, a little bit softer, and kind of easy to mush as you push down for these more difficult types of diamond paintings with the really tight drills. So this one was my latest to review, and it is still definitely very much my favorite. So I put all of these through the test as I was working on this one. And this one, the tip is amazing because it is very thin. I can do squares right up next to each other, but I think most of all it's the quiet sound and just the easy grip for my hand. So this one's still my favorite. But I did want to at least talk about it because I know people have asked, what's the difference? Not just between these two, but can I really say they're all wonderful? I think they all have their place, and I'm happy to keep all of them and try them out from time to time and switch them out. I was kind of happy to see that I could switch the tip on this one because the main issue with this one was the tip and the heaviness of it, as well as the sound. So tough decisions sometimes. These are a little bit pricier than a regular diamond painting pen, so you don't want to have to spend all this money to try them all out. But my favorite is this one. Although the light on this one is very tempting some days, it's just going to be the sound. So this one might be your late night baby sleeping diamond painting pen. Because I don't think it's loud enough to wake up a sleeping baby, but might be hard on your ears after a while. And this one is definitely lighter, but it definitely has more tips available and better for rounds. So that's my view on those. Final thing on diamond painting before we move on to cross stitch is what my plans are for the next month and probably the next few months. So I posted about my storage. I'm going to stop the video for a second. We're gonna switch the location of where my phone is. Okay, so I usually don't show other parts of my house because we do have dog toys everywhere, and this is my little board game corner And this was what Messy Girl Crafts shared earlier this month. Congratulations, Messy Girl Crafts, if you're listening on the birth of your beautiful baby. She's posted updates about that. But she found these storage containers from Amazon that architects use to store things, and I put all my current works in progress in here, and there are 25 slots of different levels of height. So I've got all my J-walls that I've been working on, my Jaded Gem shops. There's Diamond Art Gallery. I already showed this one, so I won't go into detail about that. But I have not written anything down here because this is temporary for each one of those. I don't want any one of those to live in there for too much longer. So my plan, and what I did for this one to pick to do it, is I asked Alexa, or you can ask Google or whatever, if you use any of those, or just do a search yourself, do a random number generator. And I did one from 1 to 25. So I called A1 as 1 and went across so that E1 would be 5. And then on down, I probably should write big numbers on there, 1 through 25. But whatever random number I selected, I would pull that diamond painting out and work on it. Now, normally I'm going to say that I will do one row before I move on to the next. It could be a week, could be a month. I don't want to give time periods on that. But I will, every time I pick one, try to get one row complete. And by row, I mean one 3x4, usually is the release papers I'm using there, one full row across. Now this one, I'm stopping after half because of all the black diamonds. I'm going to take a break from this one again for a while. It'll come back around. But I'm going to let the random number generator tell me which diamond painting I'm going to work on. And as I empty spaces in this, I'm going to fill it with new ones to work on so that I never get too bored with any one diamond painting. They're all in a safe spot, and I will get all these done. So that is my plan for this month and going forward. I will finish a row and I'll say, what next? And generate a random number and pick that one. If the same number comes up, that's the one I'm working on again. And if I find that I really enjoy a particular painting, I'm just going to keep going with it. I don't have to follow rules. They're my own rules. I can break them. So if I'm really enjoying one, I will just keep on going with it and see how far we get. But at least one row. But there's also more good news. If I stand up here, maybe we can see. I have 3 empty spots. So I'm going to let myself, over the next month, pick what those 3 spots are going to be filled with. And maybe you guys can help me with that too. If there's a particular diamond painting that you want to see in one of those slots, let me know if there's something you've seen on my channel. Now I am going to try to keep variety here. So I already have a Hannah Lynn. I know I have one of hers from her store that I know a lot of people are curious about, and I really need to at least get this one mostly done before I do another Hannah Lynn. I've got 2 Jaded Gem shops. I've got some Dreamer Designs, Diamond Art Club, Round Squares, Art Dot. Anyway, I've got variety here. So here's our Diamond Art Gallery. I've got a couple mysteries in here. And here's a rhinestone one that I started that I never finished from Coup Deals. Coral Reef Island. I have a lot of ocean ones in here. So if there is a theme or something you've seen on my channel that you were really curious about, let me know. And I've got 3 spots to fill over the next few weeks to a month. Now I do have, there it is, that is my Diamond Painting Deutschland. And I do have the one with the diamond art in there as well, the 3 Graces. Both of them are in there, so we'll see if we can get them done, or at least somewhere. That's another Jaded Gem shop. That's my mystery from Jaded Gem shop. What is that? That's a Halloween diamond painting. I'm not a big fan of holiday ones, so that one really bogged down, but that is still in there as well. So, what should we fill in with those spaces? Should it be fantasy, landscape? Fairy lady, I have several of those. Don't know, help me out. And that is it for the diamond painting portion of this video. I will be back in a minute with some cross stitch updates. Alright, let's talk cross stitch a little bit. Now I did do an update recently where I shared some of the cross stitch I've been working on, so this pile is actually a bit smaller than it looks. And I don't have a whole lot to show on cross stitch. This is going to be a little bit more future plans rather than a whip parade. January and June, July are usually whip parade seasons, if there is such a word for that, for floss tube and cross stitchers. So whip parade time is a time where you share what you've got accomplished over the last 6 months or year. I'm not going to do one of those this January. We'll save it for June and maybe do a June-July time frame and do a full whip parade. But I am going to show you what I've worked on in the last month or so, a little bit different from some of the stuff I was showing in my last little update when I was starting to get back into being able to cross stitch. So one of the first ones I worked on was this butterfly here. It looks like this, even though the colors on here look a little deceiving. They're not really deceiving, but it makes it look like it's going to be a lot brighter than it is. That's just to make the contrast from the different colors easier to see. This is how it's actually going to look. So this is a 50 by 70 centimeter 11 count, which means the squares were bigger, so it was easier for my hand to work on. And we've done a bit more work on this one. So we're getting into the corner here, did a lot of the black background. I showed this one recently, so I'm not going to dwell on that one, but it is still kind of in my pile of grab if I have a few minutes to work on it project and I want easy 11 count. This is a new start for me, and we are coming up on the Year of the Horse. I have the full set of these Spring brand. They're almost like little kid cartoonish little zodiac animal kits, but I thought they were really cute and small and quick and easy. They are 11 count. And I started on the Year of the Horse. I know it's a little early. We're almost there. But I wanted to at least have something that was close to a finish. I did not get the Year of the Snake done, but I'm going to put it in the pile to do. I'm not going to wait till the Year of the Snake comes around. I will get it done before that. But this is very, very easy Spring brand. The trouble I came up with these kits is the backstitch. There are so many different colors of backstitch that I had some trouble telling them apart. But here's our little horse. Nice, easy 11 count. Can hold in my hand. I did go ahead and cheat and do some backstitch there just for that star because I wanted to see something completely finished on it. But I've done a lot of work on this one. Here you can see from the back. So this is a nice, easy, enjoyable coloring book style cross stitch because you can put a thread in your needle, no confetti. You can just keep on going until you run out of that thread. And then for these smaller ones, there's little bits and pieces done because if I had a little bit left on my needle, I would just find another spot and work on it. So we do have some of the little pieces out here done. But the horse is coming along nicely and quite enjoyable little kit. Okay, so speaking of Chinese New Year, it is a little bit early here. It's coming up here in the next week or so. Maybe it's February 7th, February 9th. I'll have to look for the main celebration. But Chinese New Year is celebrated for 2 weeks to a month across China. It's a really big holiday for them, and we are at that time. So if you place orders right now from a lot of companies, even here in the US, that get their stuff from China, anything that's printed to order, it's not going to ship for a while. It's just, it happens every year. I was familiar with that with the board game world even before I got into the diamond painting and cross stitch stuff again. So Chinese New Year means that things will slow down a little bit for getting new stuff in. Hopefully we all have enough projects to keep us busy, and it's just a really important time for Chinese culture And a lot of it I read had to do with the fact that in the past you had to travel a long ways to get back to your home to celebrate with your family. So that extra time would allow for travel time to and from your home and then back to work in the big cities. So Chinese New Year is happening right now. And even though today's the 31st here in the US, of course, it's already the new day over on the other half of the world. So if you're not getting responses from companies, or you place an order and don't hear anything for a while, a lot of them may have notices up that you can read that'll give you an idea of how long they'll be shut down, but things are just going to be a little slow for a while. So hopefully I have enough to keep you busy. So that is my Year of the Horse, getting a little jump start on it so that maybe I can enjoy it for part of the year. So this one I also tried to work on the other day, and this was the day I had a bad migraine, and I was actually working on this as the headache got worse and worse. I don't think it's related, but it means I didn't get as far as I wanted before I just put it away and gave up. I did finish the back stitching here on the flowers. I finished this first cactus with the cross stitch, and I thought I'd go ahead and back stitch it before I moved on to these others. So I did get about a third of it here. Now I did find that this is the Ecology cotton floss, so it was knotting up a lot when I was trying to do the back stitch, and it was a little bit frustrating. I recommend using smaller lengths of thread for the back stitch so that you don't tie yourself in knots, because it can break if you pull too hard and all that. So that's how far I got on our little cactus pattern. I think I do have an image there of the final thing. So this one is another fun, easy project. This is 14 count instead of the 11 count that the first two were, so a little bit smaller. I did show this one in my update recently, so this won't take long. I did go ahead and buy a couple others that are part of this set because I really enjoyed this one. And that's because it's not a ton of colors and confetti. So it's really pretty colors there. It's kind of impressionist here. Here's what I've got done. I started moving over to the other half along the row. I'm trying to do like 2 rows across before I move. There we go. Get to where you can see it. I'm trying to do 2 rows here, 20 stitches down by the whole length here. Kind of working my way this way, and then I'll go a little further if I still have thread on my needle. Park a little bit, got a whole couple of park threads here, and so that's how that one's coming along. Really enjoyable stitch because it is Painting Fairy, so we got good floss, good printing. This is 16 count, so it's a little bit smaller, tighter stitching there, but I do like the results. And this one was 70 different colors here, so not a ton of blends to work with. It's just a really enjoyable, relaxing stitch. So that's how that one's coming along. Still working from that one from time to time. Oh, I know you guys are curious, some of you, about this one. This was my Amazing World map. This one is huge, and this is going to be a big project. It's going to take me 10 years or more, but I liked all the little pictures here that were like a bunch of little cross stitches surrounding by this giant map. So I have done some work on it, but because this one is so big, I'm just going to post a couple pictures. The first one here shows you the front. Of course, with any stamped cross stitch, it's hard to see what's done and what's not unless you look at the back. I'll show the back in a minute, but basically I started working on the frame here, but there was a lot of confetti and it was really hard to see progress. So I jumped into this first little picture here, and it says Germany down there. So these are German costumes from, I don't know what time period. I'll have to look that up. But I started working on a lot of the background here up in the sky, as well as just a little bit of that first person there. This one is taking longer because of all the confetti, but there are some areas where I get to just kind of sit and stitch. But this one, the challenge is the size, because it is so large. I first tried to put it on a frame and then changed my mind, and I've been working it kind of in my lap, but I will probably switch back as I get a little bit more done around the edges. I will try to put it on a frame again and see if I prefer that method. I kind of go back and forth between the frame and stitching in hand. So this one is definitely on the forefront of my list. I really got going on it in early January. I thought, new year, it's time to actually work on this thing. So we'll get there eventually, but I do love the detail that's coming out so far. And before I forget, there is the picture on the back showing what I've gotten done. Okay, then this was some of what I was working on around Christmas time, trying to see if I could get my hand to work. This is perforated paper. It is a Satsuma Street. I love all her Christmas ornaments, the bright pinks and blues of the colors. It's not really traditional Christmas colors. I have the partridge in a pear tree and the set. I think she's up to 5 golden rings. I haven't looked for number 6 yet. It's probably out. I'll have to take a look. But you can buy the patterns on Etsy, or you can buy the kits in a cross-stitch store. This came from 123 Stitch. But this is really easy to work on because of the really big holes and the fact that you can just hold it easily in your hand without worrying about a hoop or anything. I love working on perforated paper. So the car now has a front. I think I showed that one in my update, but the car didn't have a front at the time. So there's that one. This was part of my unboxing last week. I believe this was the budget-friendly cross-stitch for the one ring here. And I know this is AI art, so I am aware of that. And part of the way you can tell, of course, is that the writing shows on the inside, but it shows on the outside on this side here. But it is a pretty simple, straightforward stitch. We do have the floss drops, but I was curious how the writing was going to come out. So I really jumped on this one the same day I did the unboxing. So I could see, is this one really going to be worth stitching? Now, I didn't expect a whole lot of detail because this is 11 count. The stitch count is 145 by 145 there, but you can sort of see the colors are slightly different, but you can see the Elvish language starting to come through there. It's not perfect, but it's not as bad as I thought. It really is hard to see how these are going to come out sometimes because of all the color changing in the symbols and everything. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on, but it's coming out okay. So the colors are slightly different, but you can definitely see it is a one ring and there is going to be Elvish through there. I still have some confetti in there to do, but very simple stitch as well. I just do this. I roll it up in my hand and hold it like this and stitch while I'm watching TV. So that is that one. So I may continue on with this one. I really wanted to give this a try just in this area to see if I thought it was going to be worth my time, because I see that as a pillow for my kiddo who loves Lord of the Rings. So that's that one. We'll be kind of quick. I know this video is going long. This is one I don't think I showed yet, and that's because I had done a video for this one and then lost the video. So there was an unboxing for this, but I did not try to redo it. This is a winter scene that I got from Dream Stitch. This is Needle Kung Fu, which is the parent company of Joy Sunday. But I thought it was a really neat little Christmas scene there, and it was Christmas time again. So I was trying to see what I could stitch. I did not get very far though. I got a little bit of the house there, the cabin. You can see the colors there on the back, and then just a little corner, barely a start. But this is a 14 count and a little bit easier with a little bit less confetti there. You can see solid colors here in the sky. And so that's it. Kind of a wimpy start, but at least it's something, and I did do the little bit there of the chimney in the house. Trying it out. I think it's going to come out just fine because this was intended to be a cross stitch instead of being an image or graphic or AI art that was run through one of those computer generated cross stitch patterns. Those have a lot of confetti, what we call digital confetti, that's not really necessary. So this is more of a hand charted image, so I knew it was going to come out pretty good. So that is that one. Just a little bit of work, almost not worth showing, but I bet I won't show it again until Christmas next week. Okay, a couple other little ones here. This bookmark, I think I showed this one as well. Here, I've been working on it. This one is a little bit more confetti. This is a 1-2-1 stitch, or 5 stitch, I should say now. I just read that and automatically say 1-2-1 stitch out of habit, but they are not called 5 stitch. I have some unboxings to do from them, as well as Painting Fairy to catch up on, but I really wanted to just kind of take a break and sit and chat for a while. So this is how this one's going. And somebody asked me about why I angle my half stitches on the first leg rather than the second, but it doesn't matter. Now, for this pattern, it doesn't. Some it can when they're supposed to go a certain direction to look like zigzag, but otherwise it doesn't matter which way you go. Just out of habit, I always start a stitch in the bottom left. So for a half cross stitch, I don't want to think finish, I want to think just start and go with it. That's easiest for my brain to remember. So I just do the first leg when I'm doing half cross, which is always bottom left, top right, is how I leave my first leg there. So I got a lot of hanging threads on this one because there is more parking, because there is more confetti, but we're starting to see the tree come through as well as the sky getting done there. So we'll keep working on our big old bookmark there. I have the full set of all 4 seasons of that one. And then my last work in progress, you haven't seen the unboxing video for this one, so this is kind of a sneak peek here. I started an unboxing video. I haven't done the editing, but it is another Dream Stitch order, and it is a Painting Fairy cross stitch here that I did buy from Dream Stitch because it was in with the order of a beaded cross stitch, and that's where my video hung up. So that's why you haven't seen this yet in a video. You may in the next week or so if I can edit it to the point where I'm happy with it. So I tried to start stitching on the beaded one and ran into some questions, not really troubles, but trying to think of different ways of doing things because it is a lot of colors of beads and it is very confetti heavy. So I got kind of bogged down a little bit there. So it probably won't contain the tutorial. I'll just cut that part off and say, you'll see this in the future or something like that. But this is a beautiful cactus shell. Of course, I love my cacti, but I also love the jars and vases in this. Really, really pretty detail here. But I wanted to see how the detail was going to look. So right after I did the video, I started on this one with this vase right here. And we're going to switch gears a second because I'm going to show you on the frame how this is going. So hold on a sec. Okay, we're traveling around a lot with this video. This I decided to mount on my smaller frame here. I have 2 of these frames. This is my blue one that has 2 regular size 50 centimeter lengths here that are tied together there. So that is 100 centimeters, but this one is pretty wide with the borders here. Fits perfectly on this frame, and it is on my bedstand that I have raised, another dog toy there, that I have raised to the highest setting, and I can sit here on the couch. I pull it toward me. I actually have a ring light right up there that shines the light as well as more light right there. Quick look at my messy living room right now because I've got all the threads over here. This one has, I think, 170 something different colors and blends. So it is highly detailed, highly confetti, kind of difficult to see how those vases were going to come out. So I picked the first one and I started working on it. So let's see if I can zoom in here and keep it somewhat steady there. So I've done some of the blue here at the top of this vase. I also did the border here, a lot of that background, so I could see kind of where the line was between the 2. And then I started working on the pink flower here because it gets into a lot of confetti right through this part here. And so I wanted to make a little bit more progress so I could see where the flower outline was, and the flower's in pink and the background is kind of swirled in blue. So I jumped to the flower here. So this is what I've been working on the last few days here. It's slow progress, but there's progress, and I'd like to at least see one of these jars done. Here it goes all the way down to there, because even one jar is about the size of my hand there. It's pretty big on this, but I can really get a feel for how the detail is going to come out on this one if I just do one piece like that. And then hopefully it'll keep me sustained to want to keep going and doing all that green that's going to come up above all these vases. So I like this one because you have the pretty colorful vases and flowers down here, and then all the green in the cactus as well. And the background is very easy, but this one does have a lot of blends. So it is slowing me down a little, as I expected it would, but I'm getting there. I'm starting, so you'll see the video for the unboxing of this one probably in the next week. So hold on a sec, we'll be right back. Okay, so that is my frame setup that seems to work best for me, and I do have two of those frames, so I swap them out. I may put the Old World map on the big one right now. It doesn't have anything on it. I switch them out, but we will continue to play around with different ways of working on that one and see what works best. But again, here's that vase with the pink flower there. Let's see if I'm in frame there, as well as this is where it gets a little confetti heavy in the area there at the top of that vase. So that is Succulent Storage Rack, and I don't think I have the size on here. It is 450 stitches you guys can watch the unboxing video for the details, but really neat painting fairy pattern there that I love so far. We'll see if we can get to work on that. So what is this pile? This was something that I ordered back in July. This was kind of a retirement gift. I decided I could treat myself to something, and this is something very special. So I thought I'd go ahead and share it at the end of this video because I'm not sure where else to put it. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit more, get rid of that background noise. But can you tell what this is? If you are a cross stitcher and floss tuber, do you recognize this? This is from European Cross Stitch Company. This is a kitted up chatelaine. So I have my fabric here. This came from 123 Stitch. This is a half yard of 32 count white Belfast linen, 27 by 36. The pattern here is actually going to use all 27 inches as a square. So I will have a little bit there left on the side, but if you're going to do a chatelaine, you probably need a half yard for the full size large one. So I had ordered this a few months ago. So first, let's show you the picture here and what's going on. Here is the pattern. So Martina Rosenberg is a German cross stitcher that created many years ago all these beautiful, huge chatelaine patterns. She has passed away. Her daughter is keeping these going. She has Facebook groups. You can go to the website and buy digital patterns. There are some of the paper patterns still around. So this is chatelaine number 030, the Desert Mandala. And I picked it because of the weather in the middle. Of course, we live on the edge of the desert, and there are cactus and rabbits and snakes and all that here, but there's lightning in the middle of this. There's some areas with some of the details here, the critters in here, and some of the details are stitched over one thread with really tiny petty point cross stitches, but the rest is done over two threads, so 2 over 2 for those that speak cross stitch language. I'm going to do 2 threads of floss over 2 threads of the linen for most of it, but there are some spots where you need a single thread over single threads on linen in order to get the detail to come through. So that's why linen is really necessary for these chatelaines. I have another chatelaine that's a work in progress, but that one I substituted and hunted down my own supplies, and they're not really the ones that were intended to be in that pattern. It's just what I could find that was close enough. So I treated myself on this one. I decided for my retirement I'd go ahead and get the kit for a chatelaine. So there is a company, it is a US company, despite the name, called European Cross Stitch Company, and they have lots of cross stitch, but they do specialize in kitting up these chatelaines because some of this floss is really hard to find. These patterns were created years and years ago, and some of it is very obscure and hard to find. There were issues during COVID. The Gloriana silk floss is one of the hardest to find, so I substituted on the other one I'm working on. Still going to keep working on that one, but I thought, wouldn't it be special to have something kitted up like this? So the deal with European cross stitch, though, is when you place your order, you're not going to see it in a week or even a month, and in some cases even a year. You can contact the owner and figure out what the status is. She does have a few sometimes that are pre-kitted that you know that when you place the order you will see it in a week and it will be shipped, but for the most part she's going to put these kits together for you. And some of this floss might take her 6 months or more to hunt down from the company before she can do that. So the special thing about a chatelaine, despite the small size of this picture, they are huge. That's why you need half a yard. It's more like a course. So you have all this information and a lot of stitch diagrams. I was a little disappointed, very minor thing. The pattern came printed on both sides, so I took my printer and I made a copy of the back side of everything so that I would have just single side on here. So every other one shows the same thing that's on the back of the previous page and then blank. So that's why I have my own numbers on here. But you've got all the details for all the different types of floss and specialty threads and all that in here. And then you have the pattern, and that's why I had to go ahead. I didn't like double-sided for a cross-stitch pattern because I really didn't want to have to be flipping back and forth to get to a spot. So I have the full thing here. I'm probably going to tape it together. I'll probably make a copy of the front sides too before I mess up the pattern because they are kind of hard to find. But I will probably tape it together into one giant pattern and then fold it to work on it. But a lot of details, a lot of specialty stitches, but this thing is huge. So let me just show a corner. I know this is one of those counted cross stitch special licensed ones. You don't want to share them, but I'll show you just an example here of what I was talking about with the petty point. So all these stitches here are over 2 threads with 2 strands of floss, but then you see these little tiny ones. There are 4 stitches there in each little square there. That is petty point. That's going to give a lot of detail in a small area. So that is my chatelaine. Now I haven't opened this yet, but I was excited to see all these floss bags here. I was just expecting the skeins of yarn to come, but this is kitted up so nice with the pretty little ribbon. But a lot of this work has already been done for me, so I was really excited to see this. And like I said, I ordered it July. It arrived here in January. So this was actually a pretty short wait on this one. I knew I had enough other stuff to keep me busy that if it took a really long time, that's okay. Now, if you do order the kit up, there are different ways you can do it. You can ask for just the beads, just the silk threads, other specialty threads. There are different packages or the pattern. I don't know if she sells fabric. I prefer 1, 2, 3 stitch for that. So this was actually like 4 different pieces put together. So we do have the beads here, and a lot of these are the Mill Hill beads, the ones that Mill Hill uses, which are the Japanese Delica beads, the really tiny tubes there. And then we have some special cubes and other things here, so I did not have to try to hunt all these down. They were put together in this kit for me, and this you can buy just the beads if you prefer. And then these are all the specialty threads for this. So we have several metallic braids on this one. There's even a black metallic. So this is treasure braid here, a couple different shades of gold and silver. And then these are all silk flosses. I did not order the DMC because I have DMC or Painting Fairy floss. I have plenty of just regular floss. So these are all silk and specialty threads. And then I have the DMC list that is in addition to this. So this is something I've never seen or used before. This is 16 yards of Edmar embroidery thread. This is color Iris there. And then that one I recognize. Here the Karen water lilies there with all the different shading in that silk floss. Beautiful, beautiful. There's the blues. I love working with silk floss. There's that color. I think I actually have some of that already. That's a recognized color by me. There's this real pretty pink. There's blue. More browns, a lot of desert colors here with the greens and the blues, but she's already put them all in the bags for me. This looks different. This is imported ribbon and threads from France. What is the brand? I'll have to flip the tag to see that. This may be the Gloriana, is it? Gloriana, that's it. There we go, Gloriana floss. Hand-dyed ribbons and threads for fine needlework. It is silk, but it is hard to find some of the colors. And the shipments can take a while to come in. Usually, though, there's 12 threads in here instead of 6. So even though it doesn't look like a whole lot of yardage, it's double the threads within that. So it does cover a large area. And the kit will say if you need 1 or 2 skeins of these different colors. It's set for 16 count or 32, however you look at it with the linen, but a little bit finer count so that the thread goes a long way. Pretty browns, rust colors here, but I'm excited to get into this. I haven't decided when I'm going to start it. I may save it for a special start like my birthday. My birthday's coming up in April, so maybe I will do a special birthday start for this one because I'm still trying to catch up, still working on a lot of things. And the sunlight lasts longer once you get into April because trying to stitch on 32 count linen is going to kill my eyes a little bit. I can do it. I can do the 16 count printed, so I can do 32 count linen, but it does take my magnifying cheaters to get that done. I don't want to stick tape on my pattern there. I have to be more careful with that. So this is what you get if you order from European Cross Stitch. Of course, every chatelaine pattern is going to have different types and amounts of beads and specialty threads and all that, but I'm really glad that I got it so soon. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I did get it very soon, and it's all ready to go. So I think what I will do is go ahead and buy a set of the floss needed for this, so I can keep it just with this pattern all together rather than working from my master set. I was trying to see if I could find that list real quick, but it's probably buried in here somewhere. But it's a list of about 30 colors of DMC floss as well as all that. So this is my excitement here and something that I'm really looking forward to, but it's going to take a little while before I actually start it. So that is the Desert Mandala from Chatelaine. Okay, so not as much cross stitch, but that's what I've got. I'm going to keep going with all of it. My plans for cross stitch, since I told you my plans for how I decide what diamond painting I'm working on, I'm going to pick out about 8 to 10 projects each month and assign them a number. And then when I feel like switching projects, I'll try the random number or override my own random number decision and just pick what I want to work on. For the most part, what I do is I just keep a tote. It's actually a big basket right by the couch, and if I sit there and say I want to cross stitch, I'll just reach down and see what I can find that's right there without me even having to get up. So sometimes the same projects get worked on for a little while before I finally decide, okay, I'm gonna move everything around and switch it around. But I think I'm gonna try the random number generator, just not quite 25 like I will for the diamond painting. I'll keep it down to a dull roar to keep that basket from overflowing. And each month just pick a subset of what I'm working on and work on those through the month, and then swap some out or keep some or whatever. So that's my plans for February on into April. And we'll see if we stick to them or if I come up with some other plan. So hopefully this video didn't go on too long. Hope I didn't ramble too much, but I really had just lots of little bits and pieces to share that I can't really do as easily if I'm doing a product review or an unboxing for a company. I do have a big unboxing from the Stamped Stitch Club that has waited way too long, so I'm going to be doing that tomorrow. I don't know when it'll be posted because it does take me a little while to edit, but that should be done by the end of the week. So by Friday I will have that video out. I'm guessing it's going to be much sooner. And then I have still a couple from Painting Fairy that I have to show you. I also have some from 5 Stitch, including a wooden frame. But I'm going to get back to crafting, so if you made it this far, I appreciate it. Go ahead and hit the like, subscribe, all that if you want to help support my channel. It costs nothing for all that, but it really goes a long way toward getting our channel some exposure out there and getting more views and all that good stuff, which keeps us going. So thank you, and I will catch you next time.